Hello, it's Crypto CJ. It's Trade of the Day, Monday, I guess, afternoon edition now, since I've moved this to an earlier time, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. And I've got my FUD background today. See my man Elmer, FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. There's some more Binance nonsense going around. Allegedly, they were, I forgot the term that they were pumping up their own trades, trading with similar entities to pump up the volume. CZ from Binance denies this. It was a Wall Street Journal article, so that may have had something to do with it. China reported lower economic activity, though. Do we believe them? But one would think they wouldn't lie about such a thing. Maybe it's worse than they're saying. Who knows? But these are the kind of things that can bring down the markets, and we have Bitcoin down and Ethereum down. Let's go to the charts.
CJ, while you're bringing the chart up, there was also a news item about a Bitcoin wallet that hadn't been touched for 7 years or something, and they withdrew a real lot of Bitcoin. Wonder if that's been coming on the market and
Yeah, that could
causing
be
it.
sent. Was it sent to an exchange? Do we know? They can usually figure that out, the people who track such things.
It was just a news item in TradingView, and it was a day or so before the big drop. So I
Mhm.
wondered if that came flooding on the market.
Yeah, there was some news last week about the US government liquidating some crypto as well. So, I mean, depending on how much it is, they can, the market can usually absorb it, but if it's quite a bit, plus you add these FUD news items, it may have something to do with what's going on. We were talking earlier before the recorded portion. We've got Bitcoin down 3%, and surprisingly, Ethereum was only down 2%. I've got the 4-hour charts up as we speak, and both of these are threatening to break my bottom ranges. Bitcoin, go to the 8-hour on this. Yeah, I drew this rectangle here, and this is in danger of closing below it as we're down. We've been down below 29K a few times, but usually the market bounces back and reclaims that 29. But we thought 30K was the support. Now it's sort of acting like resistance, at least in the short term. But yeah, anybody else want to chime in on the market overall? And I mean, is this a buying opportunity, or are we looking at maybe a sustained break? And we do have support here from earlier this month, and then it's again over here in late June on around the 1850 level for Ethereum. I didn't draw it here necessarily, but just visualizing it. This is the day chart. Let me go back to the 8-hour. Yeah, we've been in this range for a little over a month. So there's danger of crashing below back down to 25K. Some talking heads have suggested this as a probability or possibility, depending on who it is. So I guess we'll see. Okay. Linnell in the chat says, buying opportunity, that's what I want. Yeah, this could be that. So if you're looking to build a position in Bitcoin or Ethereum, you might want to go in kind of small in case it does drop down here. I've got some low buy orders in the low 20s, hoping to catch a wick or something like that. I'm not sure if it'll get down there this year. It could. We'll see. But any other comments or questions or prognostications?
Just a question about that. When you have a buy order in like that, it locks up the money that you've got that order in for, doesn't it?
It does. So for me, that's my hodling money. So I'm not looking for it to generate income even this calendar year. So I'm willing to let that stay. Those, and I've pulled a few out. I had some even lower buy orders, like around like 16K, 17K for Bitcoin, and I don't know, for Ethereum, probably 1100, 1200 around there. So I canceled those and bought some altcoins that I like instead that have done pretty well. But I still got some of those low-ish buy orders in. I mean, the point of this program isn't necessarily to talk long-term holds, but I guess it's my fault I brought it up. So, but yeah, you don't want to put your income generating funds in that kind of trade. So, good question. Any other questions before we move over to Altcoin Alert and iCoinPro? See if we can find some day trades. Alrighty then. Let's head over to Altcoin Alert. I'm on the altcoin radar setting. Radar. Gonna refresh. I'm gonna sort by AA score. This is the first one I usually go to. And a mask is up over 80. I like mask. It's something I can trade on leverage. And I do have a couple trades going on with this from this morning. But today is going to be different in looking at the strategies. I usually talk about divergence and super trend because divergence has been terrible as we've had a prolonged downturn. Divergence doesn't work very well when the market just goes one direction. So we will look at mask and check it out. As you can see, I've got the super trend up. It's actually been doing, at least in the back testing, looks pretty good, but it hasn't fired off an alert on the 15-minute chart since the wee hours of the morning. That's a downside of setting alerts on this. Sometimes nothing happens. Let me start from the beginning though. Let's go to the 5-minute chart. And what I'm looking for is a 1, 2, 3 dip sequence. And you've probably seen the iCoinPro video if you're on my email list. I don't see that set up at the moment. Yeah, it kind of had one here, but then it just went sideways on the bottom, so that's not a good example. At the moment, we're kind of squeezy. A little over 2% between the Bollinger Bands, and we're sitting right at the SMA line, right in the middle. Nowhere, no man's land. It's not where I want to get in. So if you want to set a price alert, I'd probably go to a larger time frame. You might want to go with 347 as a price alert, though I probably want to go to at least the 15 or 20-minute chart to look at past support. And I'm not seeing it because this 3.5% drop or 3% drop by Bitcoin causes usually double or triple that in the altcoins. So I don't see any support in the recent history of this. So I don't really have any guidance for you as a support manual alert other than that 347 I mentioned moments ago. So let's go to the 15-minute chart and see if we can use our indicators to get some better entries. I'll look at divergence first. But these ones did okay from Saturday and Sunday, from Sunday anyway. This one did pretty well, but these two have not. This one just went down, so you'd still be in that trade on either one of these two. This didn't look this good when I looked at it this morning, though. When did this happen? So on this one, I looked at super trend and it looked better. I think I had the super trend up first, and I thought those were good entries on most of these. So on this one, I would have taken an additional buy there and probably gotten out around here. So that would have worked out. The sells obviously all did well, and this buy did well. And had you taken this buy, you would have caught this move eventually. So I thought that super trend looked better, so I didn't take divergence. And still seems to be that way, even though we haven't had a trade fire yet. On our RSI, I'm going to show you something. So this is a drop below the 30 value and then a breakthrough. So I probably would have gotten in right about here. Actually, I think I took this trade. Well, no, that's from yesterday. My bad. I'll show you a different one. You might have gotten out of that, maybe not. Eventually you would have gotten out here. So this is the one I wanted to show you because this can happen with this strategy. So I took this trade at 9 o'clock and the alerts keep going off. I think Craig or someone else mentioned on Friday that that can be an issue when you set alerts to drop below the 30 value and come back up, is that they'll go off when it keeps kind of putzing around this 30 value line. It's mildly annoying because, oh, I think I have a trade. Then you go, okay, I'm in that trade already. But it is starting to trend back up, so we'll see. I think I bought a second one on this one, first or second position again. Yeah. So obviously the short here did very well. It broke above the 70 and then dropped. That happened in the wee hours. So probably would have gotten in right around here and then caught that drop. So that would have worked out pretty well. So most of the RSI moves have done pretty well. We don't know about the most recent one. Any questions on mask? Okay. Let's look at Altcoin Alert, a different sort, and see what we can find. So another one I like is the long-term sentiment. It matches up the Twitter data, what people are talking about online, with a technical indicator called the Elder Impulse. So when these match up, it's usually worthy of further investigation. XRP looks good. Very bullish on sentiment, bullish on the Elder Impulse. And I think I just took 2 AA scores this morning, so I didn't get this far. Let's look at XRP. I've been trading this a lot lately as it's been pretty volatile. Okay, in the 5-minute, some pretty good support here, right around 68, 69 cents. So that could be a pretty good place for a price alert. Right click like this, add an alert. This is a long-term sentiment. That's what I usually use for my names of my alerts. Notifications. I like to notify in the app on my phone, show a pop-up on my desktop computer, and play a sound. I usually go with 3 notes reverb on this. So, but choose whichever one you want. I find it somewhat useful to have each strategy have its own sound. Okay, so that's the price alert. As you know, I prefer indicator alerts on the 15-minute chart. And this is what I was talking about earlier. All these bullish divergences aren't really doing much because it trended down hard. So, this one, that's from yesterday afternoon. Maybe you get out with a ladder buy, but probably not. And so you're just kind of stuck. For me, depending on which one I'm trading, that's going to be I'm going to be stopped out on that. So don't care for that at all. So I'm going to bail on divergence and look at supertrend. And my trading approach, I use an automated trading system similar to 3 commas. I talked about that some on Friday. I'm looking for a 1% move on the chart at 10x leverage. So I like to pile up 10% wins throughout the day. That makes me happy as a trader. But if you're trading spot, if you're not using leverage yet, maybe you're not comfortable with that, or you're a fairly new trader, you're going to want to be looking at these buy signals and probably going for 2 or 3%. Altcoin Alert tells us that, the one we were looking at earlier, Mask, had an 80 AA score. I forgot to mention it at the time, but That means it has an 80% chance of improving 3% or more the next 48 to 72 hours. So I'm usually looking for a 2 to 3% move on a spot trade. I would have looked back at resistance and probably looked at this area here at around 76.7 cents as a potential exit. It has not reached that yet, so I'd still be in that trade with that approach on a spot trade. But with my leverage approach, the 1% move would have happened right about here, like I showed earlier, and so I'd be out of that trade. So the sell obviously did very well, and the buy kind of remains to be seen. So I'd probably go with a super trend alert on this. Quickly remind you on how to do that. Right click on the super trend alert, or you can click these buttons over here. If you're trading spot, you want to go with the super trend buy, once per bar close. This is a long-term sentiment buy, and that's how you do that. If you're trading leverage both directions, like me, super trend direction change, so it'll go off on either the buy or the sell. And then if you're unleveraged and you think it's going down, you just want to short it, go with the short option here, the sell option. Okay, so that covers super trend. And our RSI, let's pull up the vertical line, see how those are doing. Okay, so we're looking for a dip below the 30 and then a break back up. The 30 value is considered oversold on the RSI, and the above 70 value is considered overbought. So we have a breakthrough here. Yeah, I probably would have gotten in right about here. And nope, I don't get out. It drops. I probably take 2 additional positions in this scenario with my auto trading software, and then I'm out here in this vicinity. So I get to have a small loss on my first position, and my other 2 positions are in profit for an overall profitable trade. So when I'm back testing, that's a term I use loosely for this because I'm only going back a couple days. That's the kind of thing I take into consideration. This entry would have been better. That goes up immediately, so that's a better entry. And then we don't catch this dip, unfortunately, because it doesn't break above the 70. I will fudge a little and use 68 or 69, but I probably would not have gone all the way down to 66. So you're not going to catch everything. All right. Then we have another drop below the 30 here. Entry would have been here. And you're probably still in that trade. That probably would have stopped me out. So that would not have done that well. And maybe I don't do an RSI alert on this for that reason. Or maybe I think that this move is resolved and now we're going to trend up, and then I would go ahead and because this happened at midnight my time. So I'm generally doing the analysis I'm showing you at 7:30 in the morning, shortly after I get up. So this one would have triggered before I got up, would have just missed this one at 8 o'clock. So I'm not sure if I would have taken any of these. Okay, any questions on XRP? Look at one more sort on Altcoin Alert before we bounce over to iCoinPro. Let's look at the 1 hour projected range. Haven't looked at that one in a while. This is interesting. Lena at 5.45%. That's a crazy range though. Upper 48, lower 37. Yeah, I don't think so. If I get a 3% or higher in here, then I usually look at it some more, but it's been hit and miss lately. So we looked at AA score, long-term sentiment. For a while in the spring, we were looking at the social activity sort. John from our group liked this one. And it has some similarities to the long-term sentiment. So if I see fire on both the social activity and the trading activity, that's usually worthy of checking out. OGN does not, it's not compatible with my software, which is frustrating because I used to trade that one a lot when I traded spot. Let's go ahead and look at it anyway. We'll evaluate a spot trade. So this is on Binance, and it might be on Bybit Spot too. All right, so OGN had a big spike here, earlier this afternoon. That's kind of interesting. Okay, we've got support here right around 9 cents, just below it. That might be a good place for a price alert. On our 15-minute chart, get rid of some of these drawings from 2 years ago. Divergence looks good. All these would have been profitable. These would have caught this big move here, though this looks flukish to me. This would have gone, well, it would have stopped me out. Loss is 10% before it goes up here. So that would have been a loss. This would have been a nice win though. Let's look at oh, if you're going to set an alert on divergence, you have to set them separately if you're going both directions. If you're looking at divergence as a spot trade and you want to choose positive divergence, once per bar close, and forgot what I called that. Social activity. Okay, I've used that one before. Usually it will complete an autofill for you. There you go. That's how you do that. So that would be one of your alerts. And your other one would be negative divergence, once per bar close, same thing. Okay, so that's divergence. Let's look at supertrend. Yep, supertrend did really well. Well, it caught that. It triggered on this move, so you have gotten this smaller move. You'd probably still be in the trade if you're trading spot. Well, it's 4%. It's not bad. But the buy and sell obviously did really well, but it's only triggered 3 times in, going on 3 days. So that's the downside of that one. On our RSI, get a pump here that would have done well. Another one here that would have done well. This drop. For me, I would have gotten in right about here. Assuming I found yeah, that would have gone against me pretty bad. So that would have been a loss on leverage, on a short. This one probably as well. So I wouldn't have taken. Of course, you don't have to go both directions. Got another dip here. You might just take it long. This would have been, I think this would have been a loss on long as well. Probably over, is that over 10% on this chart? Yeah, so that looks pretty grisly. The contrarian approach did not work in this scenario. Sometimes it doesn't. So probably best sticking with the super trend on OGN if you're going to trade this one. Okay, any questions on OGN or Altcoin Alert before we head over to iCoinPro? All right, let's go to iCoinPro, home of the 1, 2, 3 dip. And I'm on the RSI Spy. I'm gonna reload. Take a quick look at fear and greed index. We are neutral. Well, that's not useful. Okay, let's see, 1 hour RSI. So we looked at the RSI before on the 15-minute chart. this sorts all the coins, in whatever exchange you click on, and it'll sort. Unfortunately, it includes Bitcoin pairs, which I almost never trade. But when it's below the 30, then that's usually due for recovery. You can, if you're spot trading, you can choose Coinbase or Binance US. I use Binance because I have a pretty good idea of what is available and where at this point. If it's something I can trade leverage on, or if I want to trade spot. So this morning I was looking at this and I chose Ren. And I think comp. The Ren's volume isn't that great. Maybe it was Zen. Either Ren or Zen. They rhyme, so. And then a lot of these have come back up a little bit. I was looking at storage. I didn't do that one. So we have a lot to choose from. Let's look at Ren. Let's look at we'll look at Ren. Five-minute chart. And it's just kind of slogging down since, bless you, since Sunday. Not doing much. So again, we don't have a really good obvious place for support that's going to be useful. There's a little bit here at right around 6 cents. That's pretty close to where we are now. So I don't have a recommendation on that. On the 15-minute chart, look at divergence. Yeah, these are all bad. So yeah, these are all losses for me. So that's not good. But you could do just one direction. But this would have been a loss as well. So yeah.
When we upstairs and then take the call.
Okay, I need someone to mute, please. All right, so divergence is not looking good here. Super trend looks good, but it hasn't triggered much. We've only had 3 triggers in the last day. We're getting one daily trigger of super trend, but it has been accurate. On our RSI, that long would have worked. This short would not have probably. How far did that go? Yeah, that would have stopped me out, but eventually it would have recovered. That would have worked out okay with additional purchase. And then you catch the drop here. And then our next contender is here, but then it drops. So these are not good. As I said earlier, the contrarian strategies, which for our purposes are the divergence and the RSI, do not work well when the market crashes. I wouldn't call this a crash. 3.5% dipped up by Bitcoin. It's going to take a lot of these coins. See all the red over here on my list. When a move like that from Bitcoin is going to take everything down by probably 8 to 15%. Okay, so super trend seems to be the best option on Ren. Any questions on this? Okay, let's see what else we can find. Since we have so many to choose from, I'll just stay on this sort. I also use the Buddy coin crawler when I'm not getting these values. And I'm looking for values, usually 4% or higher. We do have a few of those, but we have so many contenders here on RSI Spy, which I think is a little bit better. We'll go ahead and stay over here. You can sort it the other direction. If you want to look for shorts, look for coins that have been oversold, but we don't have much of that today. So nothing is broken through the 70 on the 1 hour that's on this list. Okay, so we looked at Ren. The other one I was looking at is comp. Yeah, Let's look at that one. Yeah, just a long, slow slog down. Support here around 62.60, 62.50. But again, we're pretty close to that now. So we don't really have a good short-term support option for you. On our indicators on the 15-minute, this one, you might still be in it. Yeah, you'd probably still be in that one. So divergence isn't terrible on this. This move from Saturday afternoon did well, and these obviously dropped. We just got this one here shortly, but about an hour ago, and it looks like it has potential. I might, if I were looking at this now for the first time, I'd probably put this alert here, but I wouldn't take any of these. I'd wait for another, maybe for some confirmation, a second or third trigger of this divergence alert to help me out. And again, divergence is a disagreement between the price action and the indicators. It does often have a predictive value, though not as much today in some of the examples I've shown you. So if you're watching this and you're a fairly new trader, you might want to set divergence aside and focus on the RSI and the super trend, and then you get more comfortable with those. Start looking at divergence. I didn't trade divergence till I was trading for 1.5 or 2 years. So okay, so let's see what we have on the super trend. Super trend is pretty good. This buy from Saturday morning would have taken some time, would have had an additional purchase here and then gotten out probably around here with a decent move. This buy obviously did well. The sell is still in play. So this sell triggered Sunday afternoon. We haven't had a new position triggered since. So now I haven't talked about this much, but when you see a big move like this, some people trade the super trend and use the values as when to get out. So now that wouldn't have really helped you with these two, but you can catch a big move like this sometimes, and then it's going to trend back up, and probably a buy would trigger in this area here. You lose a little bit of your position, but you get a really nice move down. I don't really trade like this, but you know, if say your buy triggers here and you catch a 8 or 9% move, you know, that's a really good spot trade, and it's a great leverage trade. But you're going to have a lot of small losses and small wins because you'll get some of this type of action here. So this buy here would trigger here, so you'd have a 1% loss on this, and then this one would trigger. You know, so instead of picking up your 2%, it doesn't trigger till here. You get a small win. So, and to do that, it's a similar concept. Add an alert and go with both directions. It's also a super trend strategy that you can use. I've tried that automated. It didn't work that well, but manually, I think you can catch some big moves that way, but they're going to be rare. Maybe 10% of what you do if you're lucky. All right, so that's super trend, and let's look at RSI. Okay, that would have been a good move. Doesn't really trigger again till here. That move down obviously is really good, but here's where you get in trouble. If you're going both directions, this is going to trigger right about here. That's probably you're probably gonna be stopped out. Yeah. More than 10%, I'm usually out. Some traders stay in longer, ride it out. Nothing wrong with doing that. I do that on spot trades. I'm not necessarily recommending this, but if it's a spot trade and something I wouldn't mind keeping, comp is has some pretty good fundamentals. I would probably just, if it went 20, 30% against me, I'd just toss it in my Exodus wallet and, maybe trade it when it comes back or keep it for a few years. But you can't really do that with leverage. So at a 10% move against me, usually 6 to 10%, I'm out. Okay, any questions on comp? Okay, we're at 40 minutes. That's usually a pretty good stopping point, but I will throw it open to questions from all you guys on iCoinPro, Altcoin Alert, day trading, crypto issues at hand. I think my group is quiet today.
Hey CJ, did you talk about mask already? Did you do mask at all?
Yeah, that's the first one we talked about.
All right.
Do you have something in addition to, I was just looking at it the usual way.
No, I pulled it up in Altcoin Alert the other day, and it was either bullish or very bullish all across the top.
Mm-hmm.
Fire trading, 1 hour predicted was to go 2%, possibly 4, negative like 0.9 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it had been up a bunch when all this showed, but Altcoin Alert was saying buy, 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 buy. I bought it at the bottom of the top drop.
Mm-hmm.
When it went all the way up and then it came back down, and I thought it would retrace and keep going up, and it just fell. I kept adding to it, and eventually, even in cross, I liquidated, and it made me think that whatever Altcoin Alert says, do the opposite. And I've so many times been burned by it, and every time I keep coming back, and I'm like, oh, look at that, it's all green. It says the AA score is great. The 1 hour is great. The trading activity is great. It says bullish on all four, the two sentiments and the two elders.
Mm-hmm.
And then it tanks. And I'm just like, when it says all that, do the opposite is what I'm starting to figure out.
Well, that's a little harsh, and Altcoin Alert will not protect you from a random FUD-based Bitcoin dump. So unfortunately, that often pushes down all the altcoins, or at least most of them. So I think you had some bad luck there. But as a practical matter, that's not how I trade Altcoin Alert. I want to know what's in play. That's why I like it. And so once I identify that, then I add my own strategies to it, which may or may not have been similar to what Chris is describing. So that's how I use it. I just want to know what's in play. Same with iCoinPro. What's dipped below 30 that could come back, what's pumped above 70 that could come back. But I know I had some success trading based on just the Altcoin Alert settings, and then I didn't. And I thought, I spent all this time learning how to look at charts. I'll go back to that. And that's mostly served me well. Last year was difficult, but 23 has been pretty good. So, we'll see. But I'm not aware of any information source on crypto that's right, more than even 70% of the time. So you're going to take some losses in that scenario. Bummer, Chris. Wish I had some more soothing words for you, but you could try the opposite thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I might open a channel and just do the opposite of what Chris thinks.
The opposite.
This is what I think you should do. So that means do the opposite and you're going to be all set.
Okay. All right. Do I have any other jokers on board who want to chime in? So, all right. I'll wrap it up here. If you're watching on the recording, thanks for doing that. Check out the opportunities in the pinned comment. They help support the channel. And if you're a Carbon member, stick around. Well, actually go away and then come back in 15 minutes on the new and improved link. That's in the Telegram group, and my email list should have it as well. So we'll see you on that one shortly. Bye.